The moment I came home, I knew something was off. Not in a dramatic, dishes smashed, screaming match kind of way. No, it was subtler than that, quieter, colder. The kind of absence that hums beneath the skin, like walking into a room that used to be warm, but somehow isn't anymore. Her shoes were gone. The plants by the window looked half-watered. And there was a note on the kitchen island. 3 lines. Black ink. No greeting. No love. Taking a week away. Don't call. I need to clear my head. M. I stood there in the doorway for a long time. I didn't even take my shoes off. Just stared at the note like it might finish the sentence it didn't quite say. She left me. Not permanently. Not yet anyway. But enough to make her absence feel like a verdict. No explanation. No fight. Just gone. Like I'd been benched in a game I didn't know we were losing. I walked through the house like a ghost. Our house. The same place where we used to binge late-night cooking shows and argue over which frozen pizza brand tasted better. But tonight, the silence was louder than any argument we'd ever had. I sat down at the table, reread the note. Again, trying to decode her handwriting like it held secrets. And maybe it did, because this wasn't just about needing space. I already knew where this started. Her friends. Her trio of emotional arsonists. Chloe, Brittany, and Miranda. The ones who always smelled like overpriced candles and relationship cynicism. The ones who coached each other through breakups like drill sergeants and believed every man was a villain in disguise. They called it self-discovery. I called it sabotage wrapped in pink wine and passive-aggressive pep talks. I didn't even know we were in trouble. Sure, we'd had some tension, every couple does. But nothing that hinted she'd pack a bag and vanish into silence. I grabbed my phone, opened our messages, scrolled through them. A week ago, we were laughing about a burned grilled cheese. 3 days ago, we talked about repainting the guest bathroom. And now, this? I called her. Straight to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I already knew she wouldn't listen. Instead, I scrolled to the group chat she shared with her friends. I couldn't see the messages. They were smart enough for that. But I knew what they'd told her. He needs to know what it feels like. Let him miss you. Teach him a lesson. And she listened. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just her idea. They orchestrated it. They told her to disappear, to hurt me in the name of empowerment. They turned my wife into a ghost and called it growth. But I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to chase her into some weekend of spa retreats and twisted advice. If they wanted to play games, I'd give them something they didn't see coming. I stood up, grabbed the keys. I knew exactly who to call. Not to win her back. To find out what the hell she was really doing during this so-called week away. The phone rang twice before she picked up. Didn't expect to hear from you, Jenna said, her voice low, curious, cautious. It had been almost 8 years since we'd last spoken. Before Melissa. Before any of this. I didn't expect to call you either, I admitted, staring at the half-finished dinner sitting untouched on the kitchen table. A pause. Then the question I knew was coming. What did Melissa do? I didn't flinch. Jenna always had that sixth sense, the kind that made you feel like she could read your pulse through the phone. She left, I said. No argument. No big blow-up. Just gone. Packed a bag, left a note on the fridge, and vanished. You serious? Yeah. Another pause, sharper this time. She with them? Chloe, Brittany, Miranda. I practically spat the names. Same trio that tried convincing her last year that she was settling just because I didn't buy her a new car for her birthday. Jenna exhaled through her nose. You want to find her? I need to know where they took her. She's not answering calls. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. But I know she's not alone. Jenna didn't need an explanation. She and I had history, brief, messy, unfinished. We never ended in flames, just drifted out of each other's lives when she moved for work and I met Melissa not long after. She always called herself the prototype before the real thing came along. Now here I was, 6 years into the real thing, calling the prototype because the real thing had gone dark. You still good at finding people? I asked. She snorted. That's not a skill you lose. Then help me out. I just need a location. Give me 20 minutes, she said, and the line went dead. I stepped out onto the back porch. It had rained earlier, just enough to make the air thick and the grass slick. The swing creaked in the wind, swaying gently like it was waiting for someone to sit in it. Melissa used to read out there. That red hoodie she always wore, my old college one with the frayed sleeves. She'd curl up with a cup of chamomile and a novel and hum to herself. I used to think that hum meant peace. Now it haunted me. My phone buzzed 21 minutes later. Jenna. Got it. Airbnb. 2 hours north, in a wooded area near Pine Hollow Lake. Property owned by Chloe's cousin. GPS attached. Then she sent a photo. Melissa, barely visible, sitting on a deck chair beside a fire pit. Her head was tilted back in laughter. The flame lit up the side of her face. And sure enough, she was wearing that red hoodie. The one from our honeymoon trip. The one I hadn't seen in months. My jaw clenched. I felt something shift inside me. Anger, maybe. Not loud, explosive rage. Something quieter. Meaner. The kind that burns low and steady. She hadn't gone off the grid. She'd gone exactly where she knew I'd find her. And suddenly, I didn't think this was about space. Or healing. Or clarity. I thought it was about control. Jenna texted again. She's with the others. Chloe posted a healing weekend story. All wine and candles and hashtags about inner peace. Looks staged. Of course it did. That's what they were best at, performing happiness. Chloe especially. She was like a walking quote board you'd find in a bathroom at a hot yoga studio. Always talking about choosing joy and manifesting strength, but never sticking with anything longer than 6 months. Jobs, boyfriends, even diets. Brittany wasn't much better, and Miranda. Well, Miranda's marriage had been circling the drain for years, but she stayed because she liked the lifestyle. They all hated how grounded Melissa was. How stable our life was. They made her feel guilty for having something they didn't. And now, they'd convinced her to throw it all into the fire pit for a self-discovery retreat. Or maybe she didn't need much convincing. That's what scared me most. I sat down on the porch steps, phone still in my hand, and stared into the night. The breeze had picked up, and I could hear the faint hum of traffic in the distance, just enough to remind me the world was still turning. But mine had stopped. Melissa hadn't just left. She'd vanished into the echo chamber of her friend's bad advice, and she'd taken the life we built with her. I thought about driving up there, confronting her, face to face. But that wouldn't get me the truth. Not if she was ready with the script they'd written for her. I needed confirmation. Real proof. So I made one more call. To Drew. Drew and I met in college. He went military, then private. He'd helped me once before, tracking down a scam contractor who ran off with half my deposit. He had eyes everywhere and a strict no-questions-asked policy. Just the kind of person you call when your life is sliding into shadow and you don't trust your gut anymore. He picked up on the first ring. Nate. Been a minute. I need a favor, I said. There's a cabin, north of the city. I've got the location. I need to know who's really up there. He didn't ask why. He didn't even hesitate. Text it over. I'll head that way tonight. And just like that, the truth was in motion. If I was wrong, maybe Melissa and I could fix this. But if I was right, she hadn't just left. She'd already started a new chapter. She just forgot to tell me I wasn't in it. Drew called just after midnight. I was still awake, lying on top of the covers with the TV on mute, watching a silent infomercial for some miracle blender. The kind of background noise people use to distract themselves from the war going on in their head. It's her, he said. No greeting, no build-up. Your wife's there. So are the 3 others. Chloe, Brittany, and Miranda. No men. Not yet. That last part stopped me cold. Not yet. There's a truck that's been by twice. Parked across the road for 10, 15 minutes each time. Same plates. Guy never got out. Might be a neighbor. Might not. But something's off. Did you get a picture? Already sent it. Check your messages. I hung up and opened the file. The photo was grainy, taken from a distance, but there it was, Melissa, standing near the porch steps in that same red hoodie. A wine glass in hand. Talking to someone just inside the cabin door. Her shoulders were stiff. Her arms folded. Her expression hard to read. But she wasn't smiling. And something about that terrified me more than if she had been. I stared at the image for a long time. That was my wife. The woman I married. The woman who used to draw tiny hearts on the corner of our grocery lists. The woman who cried during commercials and danced barefoot in the kitchen when her favorite song came on. And now she looked like a stranger in our hoodie. I got another text from Drew. There's tension. Chloe's doing all the talking. Melissa mostly listens. Doesn't laugh. Doesn't drink much. Just stares. I swallowed hard. Keep watching. I texted back. Let me know if the truck shows again. I couldn't sleep after that. My thoughts ran in circles. What the hell was really going on? Was this just a toxic friend-fueled escape? Or was there something darker? Something bigger? My phone buzzed again at 12:49 a.m. Drew. Truck came back. This time he got out. I bolted upright. Me, who is it? Drew. Can't tell. Stayed in the shadows. Walked around back. Didn't knock. Was inside for less than 5 minutes. Me. Anyone come out with him? Drew, no. But when he left, porch light turned off. All of them inside. Quiet now. I stared at that screen like it could give me answers I didn't know how to ask for. 5 minutes. 5 minutes inside a house with my wife. No knock. No greeting. No words. Who the hell was he? And why was no one talking about it? I zoomed in on the license plate from the photo Drew sent. Ohio tags. Partial number visible. I copied it down. That's all I had, but it would be enough. I wasn't just a husband anymore. I was a man on the edge of a truth I wasn't ready for, but needed to know. Melissa had always been private, but never secretive. She had boundaries, not walls. But this was different. She didn't just disappear. She disconnected. I thought about the last few weeks. The strange silences. The way she'd linger on her phone after midnight. The sudden interest in journaling, meditation, digital detoxes. Her friends called it spiritual alignment. I called it groundwork. Now it made sense. They weren't healing. They were planning. I got up, dressed, paced the hallway. The house felt too small, too quiet. I walked into the kitchen, stood in front of the fridge where the note still sat, mocking me. Taking a week. Don't call. Too late. I pulled the note off and tore it in half. Then in half again. Then again. Until all I held was paper dust and old promises. My phone buzzed one last time. Drew. Guy might be coming back tomorrow. Can't confirm, but Brittany mentioned something about Sunday reset. You want me to stay another day? I didn't hesitate. Me. Yes. I need to know everything. Because whatever happened tomorrow, I wasn't waiting anymore. If she was rewriting our story in the woods, I was going to read every damn line. Even the parts she hoped I'd never see. I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room with the lights off, nursing black coffee and waiting for the sun to rise like it might bring answers with it. Every hour that passed made the air feel tighter, like the walls were creeping in a few inches at a time. By 6 a.m., I was dressed, keys in hand, and pacing. Melissa was 2 hours away. 2 hours between me and whatever version of her existed now. The version that needed space, needed time, needed her friends more than her husband. But I didn't drive. Not yet. Instead, I called Drew. He answered immediately. She left the cabin at 5:42 a.m. alone. No one else with her. My breath caught. Where'd she go? Just sat in her car for a while. Looked like she was crying. Then drove off. She's heading into town now. Gas station. Nothing shady. Just off. I pinched the bridge of my nose. My head felt like it was full of smoke. Anyone say anything last night? After the guy left? Drew hesitated. Chloe said something. She was whispering near the kitchen window. I couldn't hear much, but I caught one line. What? He's not stupid. If Nathan shows up, we play it like we always planned. A chill ran straight down my spine. Always planned. My fingers tightened around the phone. Drew, this isn't just about a girl's trip, is it? I don't think so. That was all he said. He didn't have to say more. I hung up and pulled up Melissa's location again. Still sharing it. Still careless. Still a breadcrumb trail she wanted me to find. She was stopped at a gas station just off Route 9. I knew it. Small, run down, always smelled like burnt coffee and motor oil. I slid into my car and pulled out of the driveway without thinking. 2 hours later, I pulled into that exact station and saw her car parked across the lot. Her red hoodie was hanging on the passenger seat. She wasn't in the car. I scanned the area and spotted her across the street, walking slowly down a gravel path behind the old rail bridge. I followed, staying far enough back that she wouldn't see me. I don't know what I expected. A phone call? A secret meeting? A burner phone? What I found instead stopped me cold. Melissa was sitting on a bench by the creek, knees pulled to her chest, staring into the water like it held her past, her present, and everything she didn't want to say out loud. She didn't look angry. She looked wrecked. Her shoulders shook, and I realized she was crying. Not the silent kind. The kind that makes your body fold in on itself. The kind that only comes when the guilt is heavier than the lie you told. I almost stepped forward. Almost. Then I saw her pull something from her bag. A letter. Handwritten. Folded carefully. She stared at it, fingers trembling. Then she tore it in half and dropped it into the creek. I watched as the paper drifted downriver. Gone. She sat there for a few more minutes, then stood and walked back to her car. I ducked behind a rusted-out fence post as she drove past me, eyes glassy, face pale. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about healing. This was about survival. And Melissa was in the middle of something bigger than I ever imagined. Whatever that letter said, she couldn't risk me reading it. But now I had to know everything. Because this wasn't just a betrayal. This was a warning. When I got back into my car, my hands were shaking. I'd never seen Melissa like that before. Not in 6 years. I'd seen her stressed. I'd seen her furious. I'd even seen her completely silent after her father's funeral. But this was raw. Shattered. Like the person she was trying to be had cracked down the middle and couldn't hold its shape anymore. Whatever was in that letter she tore up wasn't just a note. It was a confession. I drove back toward the cabin, but stopped about 10 minutes out. I needed to think, needed to plan, needed the burn of betrayal to settle into something sharper. Drew called again. She's back. Said nothing to the others. Just went straight to the bedroom. I swallowed the dry knot in my throat. Has the guy come back? No. But Chloe's on edge. She keeps pacing outside like she's waiting for someone. Keep your eyes open. I'm almost there. 10 minutes later, I pulled onto a dirt road, tires crunching through gravel as I eased to a stop half a mile from the cabin. I turned off the engine, stepped out, and walked the rest of the way. The woods were quiet. Too quiet. My pulse was a drum in my ears. The cabin came into view slowly, its A-frame roof jagged against the gray sky. The fire pit was cold now, the chairs scattered. I crept around the side, crouching behind the bushes. I didn't know what I expected to see. Melissa cheating? Someone holding her hostage? Chloe lighting sage and quoting empowerment mantras? What I saw was worse. The man from last night was back, and this time he was inside. Drew's voice whispered through my earpiece. He'd slipped me a Bluetooth just in case. He came in through the back door. Melissa's still in the bedroom. Chloe let him in. They're talking in the kitchen. Can you hear what they're saying? I murmured, crouched low in the brush. Bits and pieces. Something about transferring files. About her backing out. My blood went cold. Backing out of what? I moved along the side of the house, toward the living room window. Through the gap in the curtains, I saw them. Chloe, arms crossed, leaning against the counter. And him, mid-30s, heavy build, wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. Not what we agreed. I heard Chloe hiss. She's making it personal. That wasn't the deal. She panicked. The guy said. You said she was ready. She was, until Nathan started sniffing around. My breath caught. They knew I was watching. I crouched lower, heart hammering. Look, the guy said, we finish this, or it all blows up in our faces. She's not going to protect you forever. If she talks. She won't, Chloe snapped. I'll handle her. That was enough. I stepped back from the window, my chest tight. They were in this together. Melissa, somehow, was tied up in something illegal. Something she regretted. Something she was trying to escape from, but Chloe wouldn't let her. This wasn't a simple betrayal. This was leverage. I backed away slowly, retraced my steps into the woods, and called Drew once I was out of earshot. I heard it, he said. All of it. I recorded the audio. She's in deeper than you thought. Can we find out who the guy is? I already ran the plates. Name's Trevor Bishop. He works IT at Melissa's firm. IT. Suddenly it clicked. The late nights. The whispers. The tension. Melissa was a senior attorney at her firm, had been for years. She handled sensitive cases, confidential settlements, internal audits. If Trevor was the IT guy, he had access. Files, emails, digital trails. They pulled something, covered something up, and now Melissa wanted out. But Chloe? Chloe didn't care about truth or consequences. She cared about not being dragged down with her. I ended the call and stared down the path toward the cabin, the trees thick and still around me. I had a choice. Walk away and leave her to fix her mess alone. Or walk in and find out the truth from her lips before someone else buried it. I turned back toward the cabin because I needed to hear it. All of it. Straight from Melissa, even if it destroyed me. I didn't knock. I walked through the back door like I still belonged there. The cabin was quiet, too quiet. Whatever tension I'd felt outside magnified the second I stepped into the stale, lavender-scented air. It wasn't home, but it smelled like her. Melissa. That same body spray she used before bed. I passed the kitchen. Empty now. No Chloe. No Trevor. I kept walking. Her room was the last one on the left, door halfway closed. I stood in front of it, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Then I pushed it open. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, staring at the floor like it had all the answers she didn't. She didn't look surprised to see me. "Hi," she whispered. That word, small, soft, broken, landed harder than any scream could have. "Hi." I echoed, my voice low, hollow. "That's what I get." She stood slowly, like moving too fast might shatter her. Her eyes were red-rimmed. She'd been crying again. "I didn't expect you yet. That makes two of us." We stared at each other. The silence between us was thick, and I swear I could hear my life changing in real time. Every breath, every shift of weight, every memory we ever made, drenched in whatever she was about to say next. "You followed me," she said, more statement than question. "You left breadcrumbs. You didn't want to disappear. You wanted to be caught." Her face crumpled slightly. Not guilt, not defiance. Something else. Resignation. "Then tell me," I said. "Tell me what this is. What I just walked into. Why Chloe's talking about finishing it and Trevor's sneaking in through the back like this is some spy movie." She flinched at the name. "I told them I was out," she said quietly. "I told them I wanted to come clean." "Come clean about what, Melissa?" She turned toward the dresser, bracing herself with both hands. Shoulders hunched like the weight of it all was finally too much. There was a case. A wrongful termination suit. 6 months ago. A whistleblower in the finance department at the firm. He was about to go public. With everything. Embezzlement, shell accounts, laundering. Chloe's husband was involved. So was the managing partner. "And you?" "I was told to bury it," she said, eyes still fixed on the wall. "To bury the email chain. Trevor helped scrub the servers. Chloe managed the internal leak. We were supposed to keep it airtight. But you got cold feet." She nodded slowly. "I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I felt like I was watching someone else live my life. And you? You kept asking what was wrong, and I just kept lying. I told myself it was to protect you, but I think I just didn't want you to see who I'd become." I stepped closer. My voice came out low, rough. "So the trip, the lesson, that was Chloe's idea?" She turned then, finally facing me. She said I needed distance. Said if you thought you were losing me, you'd stop asking questions. But I didn't want to run. I wanted to disappear from the mess before it swallowed me. I stared at her. Melissa, my wife. Not the woman I married in a white dress and trembling hands, but the one in front of me now. Tired, scared, cracked down the center. "I watched you at the creek," I said. Her breath caught. "I saw the letter. The one you tore up." She closed her eyes. One tear slipped down her cheek. "It was a confession," she whispered. "For you. Everything. I was going to leave it on your pillow when I got home. You should have left me the truth instead of a post-it." I know. The silence that followed wasn't angry. It wasn't sad. It was final. "What now?" I asked. She looked up at me. "No makeup. No shield. Just Melissa. I need to fix it," she said. "I need to take them down. All of them." "And me?" I asked. "What do I do in this story?" Her voice cracked. "You survive it." I didn't move, because I didn't know what that meant. Not yet. But I knew this. The woman I loved wasn't gone. She was just buried under everything she tried to protect me from. And if she was willing to fight her way back, I needed to decide if I was going to meet her there. We left the cabin without saying goodbye to anyone. Melissa didn't pack. She didn't explain. She just walked out the front door, climbed into my passenger seat, and stared straight ahead like if she turned around, the past might grab her by the throat. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. The silence between us wasn't empty. It was loaded. Every bump in the road felt like a memory we couldn't quite avoid. "You don't have to do this," I finally said, voice low. "I do," she replied, eyes still fixed on the road ahead. I let it go too far. I let them twist me. I kept telling myself I was protecting us. But it wasn't us I was protecting. I didn't ask who she was protecting. I already knew. Melissa had always been loyal. Loyal to the people she loved, even when they didn't deserve it. She wasn't the type to throw someone under the bus, even if they'd driven over her first. "Where are we going?" she asked softly. "To the only person I trust," I said. "Jenna." She turned to me, surprised. "You called her? She found you. Found the cabin. Sent me the photos. She's the reason I knew anything." Melissa sank deeper into the seat. God, that must have gutted her. She didn't hesitate. Melissa nodded once, like that somehow made it worse. By the time we got to Jenna's place, the sun was high, sharp, almost mocking. Her house was tucked on the edge of town, quiet, isolated, safe. She opened the door before I knocked. "I figured you'd bring her," Jenna said, not unkindly. Her eyes met Melissa's. No tension, just old truths between women who once shared a man and now shared something deeper. Guilt, maybe. Or understanding. "I'm ready to talk," Melissa said before I could. Jenna nodded. "Come in." We sat at her kitchen table, the same one I once kissed her across. The same one I left behind when I chose Melissa. Full circle. Melissa laid everything out. Names, dates, access logs. Jenna recorded every word, her face unreadable, but her hands steady as ever. It was surgical. "They used me," Melissa said at one point, her voice cracking. "They knew I had access. They told me it was temporary, just to protect the firm's reputation. But once it started, I couldn't stop it. Every cover-up pulled me deeper." "And Chloe?" Jenna asked. "She's the linchpin. She orchestrated everything. Her husband was laundering money through client accounts, and when the whistleblower came forward, she panicked. She looped in Trevor from IT. He wiped the emails. I signed the legal gag orders. Brittany kept morale up. Miranda played the diplomat. They were the perfect team for all the wrong reasons." Jenna leaned back. "You're going to need protection. They won't go quietly." "I'm not asking for immunity," Melissa said. "Just clarity. For myself. For him." She looked at me. My chest ached. We were both standing in the ruins of what used to be a marriage. Jenna handed her a flash drive. Everything Drew recorded. Audio. Photos. Even the plates. "Use it." Melissa took it with both hands like it weighed 100 pounds. "I will." That night, I drove us home. We didn't speak much, but the silence didn't feel like before. It wasn't full of secrets. It was full of something that hadn't existed between us in a long time. Trust. But trust is fragile. And by the time we pulled into our driveway, we saw the first warning shot. Spray painted on our garage in thick red letters. "Snitches burn." I didn't speak. I just stood there, staring at the red paint dripping down the garage door like blood on a wound. Melissa froze beside me. Her breath caught. She stepped closer, reaching out like she wanted to scrub it away with her bare hands. "Don't touch it," I said. "Who would?" She stopped herself. We both knew who. This wasn't random. This wasn't petty. This was a message. And it was only the beginning. Jenna arrived 20 minutes later. She didn't ask for permission, just walked through the front door like she owned the place. "Drew's watching the cabin," she said. "Trevor's gone. Chloe's acting normal. Too normal." I nodded, jaw clenched. "So they know Melissa's flipped." Jenna gave a small shrug. "Or they suspect. But someone tagged your house, which means they're scared." Melissa sat on the edge of the couch, pale and silent. She hadn't said much since we pulled into the driveway. Her hands were shaking again. I hated seeing her like this. Hated that she looked like prey in her own home. "Do we call the cops?" I asked. "Not yet," Jenna said. "They'll file a report and do nothing. But I've got cameras going up in the next hour. Drew's bringing them. We'll monitor everything." "I didn't think it would get this ugly," Melissa whispered. "That's because you still think like someone who plays by the rules," Jenna replied gently. "They don't." An hour later, Drew arrived with a box of gear, cameras, sensors, backups. We wired the entire property while Melissa stayed inside, watching from the window like a ghost trapped in glass. When the sun set, Jenna sat me down at the kitchen table. "You need to be prepared," she said. "This won't end quietly. Chloe's not just manipulative, she's scared. And scared people are dangerous." I nodded, but I already knew. This wasn't just about saving Melissa's career. It was about protecting her life. Later that night, after Jenna and Drew left, I found Melissa in our bedroom, sitting on the floor with her back against the dresser. She was holding an old photo. Our wedding day. I hadn't seen that picture in years. It used to sit on her nightstand. Sometime in the last 6 months, it disappeared. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. "I ruined everything." "No," I said. "You didn't." "I lied to you." "Yeah," I said softly. "You did." She looked away. "But you're telling the truth now. That matters." "I'm scared, Nate," she whispered. "I feel like I opened a door I can't close." I knelt beside her, resting my hand on hers. Then we walked through it together. She didn't cry. She just leaned into me, letting the silence hold what our words couldn't. That night, I barely slept. Every sound made me sit up straight. Every shadow looked like a threat. But nothing came. No more messages. No more spray paint. No more signs. But that's what made it worse. Because the silence? It didn't feel safe. It felt like a countdown. It happened at 3:17 a.m. The sound that woke me wasn't an alarm. It wasn't even a door. It was the shatter of glass, sharp, immediate, violent. I was up before I realized it, grabbing the bat from under the bed and sprinting down the hall. Melissa screamed behind me. The living room window was blown open. Shards of glass scattered across the couch, the floor, the family photos on the wall. And in the middle of the floor, a brick wrapped in paper. I didn't touch it, just stared at it, heart hammering. Melissa came down the hall barefoot, shaking. I threw out an arm to stop her from stepping on glass. Stay back. She nodded, clutching her robe tight around her body. I crouched, using a towel to grab the brick. The paper was wrapped with duct tape, clumsy, fast, done by someone in a hurry or someone angry enough not to care. I peeled it back slowly. It wasn't a note. It was a flash drive, just like the one Jenna gave us. But this one was labeled in Sharpie, all caps. Watch me. Melissa gasped. I didn't say a word. I went straight to the laptop, plugged it in, and opened the file. It was video footage, grainy, from a security cam. It showed Melissa's office. Nighttime. Empty. Until it wasn't. Trevor stepped into the frame. Hoodie up. Gloves on. He moved quickly, typing on her keyboard, inserting a USB drive. He scanned her files, copied folders. The timestamp showed it was 3 weeks ago. He wasn't cleaning up evidence. He was collecting insurance. Melissa covered her mouth, her eyes wide. I didn't know he was in there. Then another clip. This time, it was Chloe. In her living room, pacing. On the phone. Her voice was faint, but I could make out pieces. She's cracking. If she flips, we're all dead. Pause. No, I don't care if you have to scare her. Melissa backed away from the screen. Someone leaked this, I said. Someone on their side is turning. Or it's bait, she whispered. Does it matter? This is what they're willing to do. Before she could answer, my phone rang. Jenna, get out, she said. Now. What? Trevor's car is missing. Chloe's off the grid. I think they're coming tonight. That video, it wasn't a threat. It was a distraction. Melissa was already moving, grabbing a duffel from the hall closet. Where do we go? I asked. My uncle's place, she said. 2 hours out. Remote. No cell tower. No, Jenna said. You come here. Now. I've got Drew and 2 others waiting. You'll be watched. We didn't argue. Within 5 minutes, we were out the door. We didn't even pack clothes. Just essentials. Phone, wallet, drive, and Melissa's wedding ring, which she hadn't worn in weeks. She slid it back on before we got in the car. Not for me. For herself. As if it anchored her to the version of her she used to be. The road was quiet. Empty. The night too still. Every passing car felt like a tale. Every pair of headlights made me grip the wheel tighter. By the time we pulled into Jenna's driveway, my hands were numb. She opened the door herself, wearing jeans and a pistol on her hip. Come in, she said. Lock the door behind you. Inside, Drew sat at the dining table, laptop open, maps scattered across the surface. Another man stood in the corner, tall, lean, quiet. Watching. Melissa sank into the nearest chair. I stood beside her, and for the first time in days, I let myself believe something. We might actually survive this. But survival had a price, and it was time to collect. They came just before dawn. 2 black SUVs. Quiet. No headlights. No plates. Jenna spotted them on the perimeter cams, for men stepping out, dressed in black, faces obscured, moving like they'd done this before. Melissa stood in the center of the living room, trembling but still, like prey pretending not to exist. She looked at me. I nodded once. Then she turned to Jenna. Let them in. Jenna blinked. What? Melissa stepped forward. I said, let them in. Are you insane? No, Melissa whispered. I'm ending this. Jenna hesitated, then nodded at Drew. He clicked something on his laptop. The front door unlocked with a soft clack. I moved to stand between Melissa and the entrance, but she raised her hand. No, I've got this. I didn't argue. Not this time. The door creaked open. Chloe stepped in first. Hair tied back. No makeup. No smile. Trevor followed. Behind them, 2 men I didn't recognize. Probably hired muscle. They smelled like danger. Lean, silent. eyes scanning every corner of the room like they were casing a bank. Melissa, Chloe said, voice cool. This isn't how we handle things. No, Melissa said. It's how you handle things. Threats. Bricks. Fear. Chloe raised an eyebrow. You're shaking. I'm done shaking, Melissa replied. You came here to silence me. I know. No, Chloe said softly. I came to give you one last chance. Walk away. Say nothing. Disappear. And this goes back to normal. Melissa laughed. One short, dry sound. Normal? You think I can go back? You always came back before. Not this time. From the hallway, Drew stepped out, a phone in his hand. It's done, he said. Files uploaded. Voice recordings. Videos. Federal inboxes. Local ones. And oh yeah, the press. Embargoed until noon. Tick-tock. Chloe's face didn't change, but her eyes did. That flicker. The one people get when the ground shifts under their feet. You bitch, she hissed. Melissa took a step forward. I believed you. I trusted you. You were my friend. You said we were in this together. But I was just a tool. You let me burn while you stayed clean. Chloe's jaw clenched. You just signed your own death warrant. No, Jenna said, stepping into the room, her pistol now resting in her hands. You did. Trevor moved first, toward the door. But the second he turned, the two hired muscle raised their hands. We're done, one said. This wasn't the deal. The other nodded. No one told us the feds were involved. Trevor cursed under his breath. Chloe looked like a building mid-collapse. Jenna stepped forward. You have 10 seconds to leave. If you don't, you'll be leaving in cuffs. Your call. They left. Silently. Quickly. Melissa collapsed into the couch. And for the first time, I saw it. The guilt fall away. The fear let go. The truth settle in. It was over. Not clean. Not perfect. But over. We stayed at Jenna's for 2 more days while the news broke. The firm exploded. Firings, arrests, statements. Trevor was detained first. Chloe lawyered up. Her husband vanished to the Bahamas with a fake passport and a frozen account. Brittany deleted all her socials. Miranda tried to spin it as ignorance. Melissa testified quietly. No cameras. No press. Just truth. And then we went home. The garage door was still scarred, but the paint was faded now. The air felt lighter. The silence no longer suffocating. One night, a week later, we sat on the porch, her hand in mine, the way it used to be. She turned to me, eyes soft, voice small. Do you still love me? I didn't answer right away. Because the truth is, love after betrayal isn't a switch you flip. It's a choice. Every day, every hour. And I'd made mine. I looked at her. Really looked. The woman who lied. The woman who fought her way back. The woman who tore down everything just to build something real. I never stopped, I said. She cried quietly. And this time, I didn't feel broken. I felt whole. Because some love stories don't end with perfect. They end with truth. And sometimes, that's enough.